And what up, Chiefs Kingdom, and welcome back to the Arrowhead Kingdom Chiefs Cast Show. Big reminder that all Chiefs fans are invited to join us for game day, which is coming very soon. It's Thursday. And visit arrowheadkingdom.org to learn more about the group and to find your local chapter. Also, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel, whichever way you're listening. We're, of course, presented by Complete Weddings and Events, your leading provider of photo, video, DJ, photo booth lighting, and date of coordination services. Visit them at completewedo.com. All right, last week we wrote a song. We're still in production with that. There's a couple other things that need to happen with this, but we're completely on it. And this week we have a good number of things to talk about, but we are completely Brianless this week. I think that
I
he's
know, isn't that crazy? We're
out.
we're we're without our third amigo, man.
Well, exactly. And so the three amigos, what is it? The da 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 da. So
The dynamic duo right now, huh?
dynamic duo now, yeah. So Brian's out, and by out, I mean that he is out in Lawrence at a certain football game. We are recording on a Thursday, and it is the opening day for the KU football season. So far, they're looking good against what's probably a total cupcake team, but they're looking good regardless. And they've got these ice white on white and light powder blue,
Oh wow.
awesome looking uniforms. They look cool. I know Dwayne's a Texas guy, so he doesn't care
Yep.
about any of this stuff, but Brian and I are shameless KU fans, and we've made that clear from the
No, no.
beginning.
Can't knock KU, but I'm a diehard Texas Longhorn. And
Well,
besides, a lot of Longhorns have played for the Chiefs. Priest Holmes, Derek Johnson, Jamal Charles.
yep.
Hey, and now Xavier Worthy.
Exactly, and now Worthy. So we love Worthy, and let's jump right into the biggest thing, which is we've got a final roster. So what were the biggest surprises for you? Players that did not make the team, or ones that you were somewhat surprised that they did.
Man, my biggest surprise was Kadarius Toney being cut. I thought, and it was the right move. It was actually the right move. But
Sure.
I thought that Reed would be Reed and so logical and so loyal to his logic that he would have kept the guy no matter what. So that really shocked me. And two, the release of Deneric Prince for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but he made up for it by bringing over the guy from Denver, which I can't
Samaje
recall his
Perine, who played for the
Perine.
Bengals
Yeah,
forever.
LaMichael's cousin, right?
That I don't know. What I do remember is that he was a very capable backup for Joe Mixon. He got too, we'll say, good for Cincinnati to be in that backup role. They couldn't afford him. That was at least my understanding of the situation. And he spent some time in Denver, but I think the guy's looking forward to running angry against Baltimore week one.
Mm-hmm.
So, overall, running back room feeling pretty good with. Did you say Hilaire was released? Edwards Hilaire was
No,
released. Okay, I
no,
didn't think
Hilaire,
so. I was
Hilaire,
gonna say,
Hilaire was there. I'm
yeah, I thought
surprised
I
that
I
they
thought I
kept
missed
him.
something.
I'm surprised they kept him over what's his name Prince.
Deneric Prince, yeah. So Hilaire, I think, is the guy that they're kind of keeping around because he's a locker room guy and he's got the mental stuff that he's working through. And I think the team's trying to be supportive. I'm still not convinced that there isn't a stop on the IL to start the season, but we'll see what happens there. I want to circle back to Tony. I was surprised that he was gone. I'm also gonna just say I'm a little put off at how happy everybody is about that. It seems like
Me too.
a little over the top, just celebrating some guy's downfall, and there's a difference
Yes.
between rooting for the worst boss you've ever had to lose his job and rooting for a coworker that just it doesn't really. I don't know. I know there's people that would argue with me and be like, "Well, he lost three games. Well, we won a Super Bowl, so I don't care."
Right, right.
I really don't
I'm
care.
with you on that, Josh. I am 100% with you on that.
Yeah, but what I thought was interesting, I saw a quote and it was Brett Veach talking about Tony, and I'm going to read the exact quote. I don't think we're sitting here going for a third straight Super Bowl had we not made that trade. Veach said
That's
of the
right.
deal that send third and sixth round picks to the Giants. So from that standpoint, we do it all over again in a heartbeat. And that's the part that I think is is interesting. And you can boil this down and say that the only thing that he truly did well his entire time in Kansas City was that punt return against the Eagles, but that was the first of what we are all hoping is going to be a third Super Bowl in a row. And that matters. It matters. And I think if you would go to any NFL fan that's in the middle of anything other than what we're watching right now with our team in this sustained level of good, and I would just challenge anybody to think about 2013. You know, we got Reed and coming off of that season and
Right.
everything. If you're given the question, would you trade a third and a sixth round pick for a Super Bowl? The answer is yes.
Yes,
I'd
absolutely.
answer that yes now. I don't even so I don't know. I'm happy we had Toney. I'm happy we got what we got out of him. He didn't turn out to be the stud that I know you and I both hoped.
And for the guys rooting against his demise or whatever,
Yeah,
him leaving, Tony has back-to-back Super Bowl rings, so
exactly.
he's leaving on top.
Exactly. He's leaving on top, but you know, the thing about it is he's getting ready to look for his third team, and I don't think he's even been in the league for 5 years. So there's definitely some maturity, some durability, some just focus and stuff like that he needs to work on. I hope he gets it right. You know, he's a guy that gave us enough good times that I consider him part of the Chiefs family, and I wish him well. And
Me too.
you know, the other one that I'll mention, I'm not shocked. Some of this was me trying to talk myself into something that, you know, I think we probably knew was more of a long shot than we gave it credit for. But Reese Lightning, you know, did not make
Uh,
the team or Welsh rugby player. It was a story I really wanted.
yeah,
Never really fell into that kickoff role that we were talking about, but he did find a home with Jacksonville, so he's over with.
yeah. He's on with Reed Jr. I mean, Doug Peterson. I believe Andy Reid liked him. He just knew he couldn't keep him, and I think Andy said, "You know what? Let me call up my coaching son. Let me call him up real quick. Hey, uh, Reed Jr. Peterson, I need you to take this one off my hands. Take it for the team." And I believe that he was like, "Okay, we'll find something for him to do."
Yeah, Reed Jr. needs to start acting a little more like Reed Jr. and have a good season this year. His time in Jacksonville might be looking a little short. So far, we haven't seen just a world beater stat year from Trevor Lawrence, and Peterson isn't stringing together great seasons. Now, I think the Jags are going to be a little more patient with him than the Eagles were, partially
I
because
think
I
so.
think the city of Jacksonville is a more patient city than Philly, but you could say that about any city compared to Philly. uh, and you know, I would say that to any of my friends that are from there, and they would probably agree with me, especially when it comes to sports stuff like this. But you know, I wish Reese Sam well, and I'd like to see that work out in the NFL in some
Me
capacity.
too.
Yep. So there we
Me
go.
too.
All right. So the roster, any other big surprises that you would throw out?
Oh, big surprises. Let me see. What's a big surprise?
Well, I
Uh,
mean, none coming to mind kind of answers that question, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah. None,
Yeah, so
none.
I don't know that we have the big surprises left, you know.
No, none comes to my mind either. And I'm really trying here, by the way, Josh. I am really trying to figure it out, you know?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But I mean, if it's not there, then no need to force that.
Oh, I know what is a roster surprise.
Sure.
The guy, the tight end Hendershot from Dallas. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, bringing
why didn't
him
we
in.
just keep Irv Smith?
Yeah, yeah, it's
Was we
crazy. So I'll agree with you there. I'm not sure what we weren't seeing from the players that were on on our team and what they did see there, but I'm I'm calling that one just a garden variety. I'm not a GM. I don't know, you know.
I
So
mean, the only thing I can say is Hendershot's been more healthier. Like he's been a more of a health factor than Irv Smith. But is he really better? But does he really have to be? Because I mean, he's there. And I know another surprise. And I said this at the earlier part of the summer. Juju Smith Schuster. I had a
You've
gut
been calling that. You've been calling that for the
that
whole
he was
offseason.
coming
He was
back.
coming back.
I was like, oh, that guy's coming back, And that's so weird. I should have doubled down and betted on that one. You know?
You probably should have. Yeah, you probably should have.
Yeah. So, but here's my question to you.
Yeah.
Does Juju, now that Hollywood is out, Hollywood can be out 4 to 6 weeks.
Yep.
Even actually he's been gone 2 weeks. So let's say he has another 3 weeks to go.
Yep.
I know Thursday night in his spot on the outside would be Watson. I think by week 2, Juju starts because of who he was in our offense and Pat trusted. I think he's going to start, and I think that we're going to play 4 wide receivers. Do you kind of see that, or do you see? I see 2 slots. I see Rice as a power slot, and I see Hollywood as just that go route, that go slot guy. Worthy on the outside, Juju on the opposite side of him. Can you see that?
I can see that. I can see that. So what I'm doing right now, I've got to bring up the depth chart. I just want to look at what the official depth chart is for the moment. And some of this, I'm bringing this up to just remind myself that I need to go buy a jersey because I put the stake in the ground that the second that Kingsley 79
Mm.
becomes the starting left tackle, I'm buying his jersey, and he got that job.
For
Uh,
the namesake.
yeah, exactly. So looking at the depth chart, because I think stuff like this does matter. It does not have. Let me see here and just verifying this. Okay, so I see 3 wide receivers, a running back, and a tight end for the starting. And we've got Carson Steele listed as fourth on the depth chart. So we're just listing the 3 wide receivers and then the tight end. So, I mean, Kelsey calling him a tight end is kind of inaccurate. But
Right.
it looks like we have Rashee Rice, Hollywood, Xavier as the 3, and directly behind Hollywood is Juju. So I'm inclined to believe that you're on board with him being there probably sooner than later. I can see Justin Watson being the third when they line up at the beginning. I think you're probably onto something for the start of this game. But I also, in a lot of ways, kind of expect to see the receiver position be a pretty big rotation this first game. So I don't know that starter, you know, this might be more of a sixth man in a basketball rotation where the sixth man is just as important as a starter, but you just sit in a different spot type of situation. But I can see Watson if he doesn't have a blow up situation or if Juju comes in and makes some key plays doing exactly what you're talking about and taking that spot.
Yeah, I think I got a funny feeling, Josh, that Juju is not here as a rotational guy. I don't unless both knees are just really shot, then he would be. But if he's healthy and good to go, I can't see Reed not starting him just because of how dominant he was before he left.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. A lot of the backseat GMs that hate Tony and still question our general manager and stuff. You saw comments about, well, he's not good enough to make the Patriots team. You don't just get cut because you aren't good enough to be on a team.
That's right. I mean, people could be so uninformed.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not going to say that I know anything. I didn't watch any tape of Patriots practice by any means, but can I picture a world where Gerard Mayo was a first year coach trying to put his stamp on a team after decades of Bill Belichick? dominance. We're completely out of the Tom Brady wake at this point, but if you are in a holy crap, KU player just leveled a camera person in the end zone. Sorry, got
Wow.
distracted. Yeah.
No, that's a great distraction.
I think she's okay. I think she's okay, but man, he just got knocked out in the end zone, hits a camera guy, hits another lady standing by the cameras. Anyway, so back to this. But no, I think that if you're too much of a veteran, and there's a difference between being a veteran like they traded for Tyreek Hill, for
Right.
example. You're not going to make a change off the roster there, but for a guy who is not a number one receiver and who has never been a number one receiver, I can see wanting to try and accelerate the youth movement, and also at the same time not keep somebody who's a pro like that stuck on a roster that's going to be doing backflips if they win 5 games.
That's true.
Because the Patriots are going to be horrible. I mean, the
They
Patriots.
are. I mean, the same could be said about Cole. People
Mhm.
said he was washed, and he was the guy that got us our back-to-back Super Bowl.
Well, exactly. And the biggest crime that McCole committed was being drafted in the second round ahead of a
Right.
guy named DK Metcalf.
Yeah, that's it.
And so Veach got that one wrong. He's admitted he got that one wrong, but
Yeah.
Cole's been a pro, and something I think of a good player. He's played a good role for us.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
Yes, he has. Now he's a rotational guy, but
He
he's
is.
gonna
He's a special teams guy. He
and
probably
he's
made
gonna
the
be
roster as
great.
a special teams guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. You don't
Nothing.
fill a 53 with stars. I mean, first of all, if either one of these guys were world beaters, we probably couldn't afford them. So,
No.
but I,
But they're world beaters on our squad.
well,
Like
exactly.
Cole is gonna come in and make a mark on special teams, but he's gonna come in the rotation on sometimes
Yeah.
when they just rotate him in for a guy, and he's gonna catch a few passes.
Well, exactly. But I remember a couple weeks ago, a couple episodes ago, we were sitting there talking about the potential wide receiver room, and I remember
Uh-huh.
specifically saying we get Juju back, we keep McCole. The scenario we were keeping Toney. I think we had Toney over Watson, but
Right.
it was like if you have Hollywood, Rasheed, Worthy, and then you have Juju, Sky, and Toney and McCole, it's like I'm okay with that receiver room.
Yes, you did. I remember you saying
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
and
remember
I
you
remember
saying
you
I'm
saying
okay
you were
with
the
that.
same too, and switch out Watson for Toney, and I'm fine with that. You know, I saw another another comment on Arrowhead Kingdom that I commented on, and it was somebody saying for the life of me I don't understand how Sky Moore is on the roster, and um I and that Toney was cut, I think was the exact thing, and my comment was I think Sky was a little bit more of a professional than Toney
No,
was, and some of that stuff
absolutely.
matters when you're talking about the tail end of the roster, and I think the comment went to, well, give him a
I think he
good
was the
attitude
coach's
award and move
like
on.
like
But
a like a coach's favorite. Absolutely. He seems like a sunny disposition guy. He doesn't seem like a problem.
well, and it's not even that as much as if you have Toney on the roster and you're not playing him, I mean, that was a problem in the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
You know, but there was never a problem when McCole was riding Pine. There wasn't a problem at the end of the season when Sky Moore was riding Pine.
That's right.
And somebody's going to be riding Pine on a deep team.
Mm.
So, I think decisions are made from greater layers than, we want to give stuff like that credit for. All right. So the other thing that we had on the list was to pick the Chiefs' final record by game. So we'll both go through and pick wins and losses, and then we can revisit that throughout the year. But I did have a couple other Chiefs headlines and also NFL headlines that I want to go through. Do you want to pick record, or do you want to go through this other stuff first?
Let's go through your NFL headlines first, and then let's pick record.
Okay. Um, so the first NFL I don't even know that I'll call this a headline. There is a pretty significant amount of wide receiver drama going on in the league. And so the two things that I'm pointing more than anything, we have Aiyuk, who's demanding a new deal, and John Lynch just seems to be
And
under more
Ayuk just
pressure
got
every
that
day.
deal today with 49ers.
Well, we
It
did
was
get that
breaking
deal today.
news like an hour ago.
Okay, so I wasn't paying attention to something, and I guess there's not really a whole lot to talk about. So, $120 million extension. I'm looking at the headline right now
Uh-huh.
to go along with the extension that CeeDee Lamb got, which was 4 years, 136. So Aiyuk is at 30, CeeDee Lamb is at 34. So here's the one that's interesting, and I'm absolutely positive nothing's happened on this one. Ja'Marr Chase, what are we doing here? What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on that one?
I think he's going to get paid, and Higgins is just going to have to play it out on that uh, on that franchise tag. I know he doesn't want to, but Higgins is. Do you lose Chase or do you lose Higgins? You got to let Higgins go. You got to keep Chase because Chase makes uh, Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, Joe Burr, Tiger King, whatever he calls himself these days. He, Chase makes him work. Before they drafted Chase, he couldn't really his rookie year was not that great. Even though he was rookie of the year, he just wasn't that great. He wasn't the Joe that he is once he got Ja'Marr Chase.
So the national talking heads, call out first things first, but I was also watching the new Breakfast Balls, which is Carton and Mark Schlereth, and I can't remember the third guy's name. But I was listening to them, and everybody keeps going back to the Bengals have always been a notorious cheap team that doesn't pay anybody. And you have stories about how they used to make players rent practice equipment and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And they had to sell naming rights to the stadium to, basically pay, I don't even remember who. But the fact that they didn't pay Higgins, they told Higgins a while ago, I think pretty publicly that he was playing out the the franchise tag. And it
Right.
was going to be so they could pay Burrow and they could pay Chase. And if the goal was to pay Chase, why aren't you paying Chase?
Exactly.
And so every day that goes by, I mean, is this the question that I think is being asked? And I think fairly is are the Bengals going back to these penny pinching, we can't afford anybody ways? And do they even have a Super Bowl window beyond this year if they act that way?
Yeah. I don't think they are. Their division has gotten a little too good, Josh, that I don't even think they're going to win their division. I actually think they're going to be third in their division. I think you know, I'm still heavy on the Steelers, surprising at two, but I think the Ravens are going to win that division again. I think the Steelers are going to do better than the Bengals just because of their defense. And Russell Wilson just won't mess it up. He doesn't get hurt, but he's just going to come in there, play Alex Smith this one season, game manage, throw a couple of deep balls, and he'll be on another roster next year. Justin Fields is their future, but they got to bring him up to speed. They got to teach him how to play the Pittsburgh way.
So I think I see that division differently. I see the Bengals winning this
Yeah.
year. I really do. I think that Higgins and Chase are both going to have big seasons, as well as Burrow for that matter. I think they get over the can't beat the Ravens thing
Mm.
enough to at least win this division. I think both of those teams are going to be stout. I think that Pittsburgh misses the playoffs as the third team in that division. That's me, just based on their backloaded schedule and the motivated opponents that they have in front of them. But I I question what Cincinnati's outlook looks like starting next season. Because if they I think they can get Chase to play this year, regardless of contract situation, and base
Right.
this on nothing, other than the fact that this is his fourth year. So he's technically still under team control, but Chase is not going into a fifth year on his rookie deal. He's just not.
No, he's not.
Higgins is going to be gone. And if you can't figure out how to pay him now, I don't think that this is a accounting problem as much as a motivation problem.
Mm.
So
But you got
in theory, Chase ends up being available a year from now. How do you see that play out? Because it would be a trade with him still under team control. Let's
mm,
just look into the future. Let's say the Bengals decide to Bengal.
hmm
Who could you see Cincinnati actually trading with
trading with. They won't trade with us. I can tell you that. And
I agree with that.
they
And I
they
wouldn't if I was them either.
I could see them trading with Buffalo.
Seriously.
I could see them trading with Buffalo. I could see them trading with either Buffalo. I could see them trading with the Commanders. Like they'll do something funky like that, you know?
I could see him
Or
send them to hell in Carolina.
yeah,
Yeah, if you want to go get
Carolina.
paid, there you go.
You'll get paid, or the Patriots, you know?
Yeah.
Either one of those.
Interesting. Yeah, this Ja'Marr Chase thing is gonna be interesting to see. The other interesting contract situation is what's Jerry Jones talking about with Dak Prescott? Did you see the quote from
I think he's
Prescott
gonna
today?
I think he's gonna keep Dak. At first I was like, oh, Dak is gonna walk. Dak is gonna walk in the off season. I think Jerry is that old man that might have a little onset dementia a little bit, but he hides it real good with his Texas swagger. So I think he keeps Dak and he fires McCartney and he uses Dak as a stat guy because Dak has great stats. He just can't get you over the hump in the postseason. I think he goes and finds a an innovative coach, and that's his selling point. Hey, can you coach Dak? Can you get us to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I Dak made a comment today. Who knows if this quote was taken out of context? I might be just adding flames or fire gas to a fire that probably should have never been lit. But there was a comment made where Dak effectively said, "I don't pay attention to what Jerry says in the media because it doesn't matter."
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that's wild. That's wild that you would say that.
yeah. And he's right because he knows that he's going to get paid. And I think that next season, looking into the future, not only will is it McCarthy or
McCarthy,
McCartney?
McCarthy.
McCartney. McCarthy will definitely be gone. And I I just can see him paying Dak, CeeDee, and Michael Parsons. He's not going to lose Parsons. Anybody else is expendable, and he's gonna get rid of him. I see him working the draft to get another stud running back, and he's gonna get a head coach. Now, who as a head coach, I just don't know, but I was looking at somebody like McVay. Is he on his last year contract in LA?
Let me look here. Sean, big contract. Extension that runs through 2026. So that would have to be a trade.
Right.
If you're McVay, do you touch the Cowboys with a 10-foot pole?
Uh, yes, because you have better weapons. Uh, you don't have the better quarterback. You have the better quarterback in Matthew Stafford, but Stafford's about to retire. But if I was McVay, I would stay in LA and just rebuild the team. Get me a quarterback. I don't think the 2025 class is that high of a class like the 24 class was, you know?
Yeah,
So
I think McVay has a better team and the Rams. when we were doing our projections for playoff teams, I think I'm a little higher on the Rams than you are. I think they're going to have a
Yeah,
good season. I think they're going to put up some stats, and Stafford's going to have a season that I think makes him come back for another year. I think he's closer to retirement than not, but I also think that LA is a place you can get a quarterback to go play, and McVay might be coaching Dak, but in LA, if Jerry messes this stuff up, because Dak's in a position where if he plays this season out, he's a free and clear free agent to go do whatever he wants.
yeah.
And, maybe Sean McVay says, yeah, we got
That's a
65
great
million a year
one.
for a couple years.
Yeah, because if you think about it, Stafford more than likely, I didn't think of it that way, Josh, but you're right. Stafford could retire after this season. And if he retires, then why not go get a Dak Prescott in free agency and bring him to LA? He would definitely do a lot better with McVay than he is with McCarthy, or whatever his name is,
McCarthy, yeah.
like Paul McCarthy.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
there you go. Paul McCarthy. So KU just scored another long bomb. Looking at the
Oh, wow.
graphics to the house. Yeah. No, they're lighting up Sporting KC Park tonight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 99% sure that's where they're playing. I'm sitting on a computer. I'm going to verify that here shortly.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, so KU's looking good. Again, against early season opponent, gotta be clear about what this is. But they're beating a team that they're supposed to the way they're supposed to.
that's right.
Yeah. All right. So then the last thing that I want to bring up, and I think this is just interesting. Travis Kelsey is diversifying his portfolio, and he bought ownership stake in a racehorse. So
Awesome.
yeah, thoroughbred named Swift Delivery.
Swift delivery. I love it. I love it.
Swift Delivery. And so this guy who is a trainer, Mark Cass, I believe it's Cass, Casse. I don't know if it's Cass or Cassie, but he has won 3,800 races. So he's a
Oh, wow.
3,800 time winner. And I went through and I started trying to count what I think are the majors. There was a section on his Wikipedia page that listed majors. I don't know what any of this is or what this means. I don't know what any of the races are except for the two that I'm going to point out. In 2019, he had a horse that won the Preakness and the Beaumont.
Wow.
And the Preakness and the Beaumont are two of the three legs of the Triple Crown in the US, which is the only real racing that I know anything about. With the third
Me
leg
too.
being what? The third leg of the Triple Crown is what?
I can't tell you the third leg.
The world famous Kentucky Derby. You'd fit in great
Oh,
with that hat.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you'd
Exactly.
fit in great with that hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Kentucky Derby. You're so right.
Yeah.
Good
And
gracious. How
so
the hell did I miss that one?
yeah, but so five derbies ago, this guy had a horse that won two-thirds of the record. So can you picture a world where Travis Kelsey is standing, by the victory circle of the Kentucky Derby with Taylor Swift talking to his jockey that just won the Kentucky Derby with his horse? I mean,
With swift delivery. That
picture
that
that
would be
scene.
that would be too cool.
Yeah, I think that would be super cool too, and just interesting stuff, just guy keeps just doing.
Oh yeah, he's definitely setting himself up for a life after football. That's why we got to get him this three-peat, because I think we're gonna lose him after this three-peat. If we win this three-peat, I could just see him abruptly saying, "Hey, it's been real. I'm retired,"
Yeah.
and we'll see him in Hollywood. And his podcast just got $100 million. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's good work for those two.
yeah,
They shot out of a rocket of relevance. I mean, they took over the world. Good for them.
yes, hey, real good for them.
Yeah. All right. Let's go through the Chiefs schedule. Let's make our final predictions for the final record. How's that sound?
That sounds great, Josh.
All right. A week from recording today,
Mm-hmm.
they are opening the season
Okay.
because the team that won the Super Bowl does that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're opening the season at home against the Baltimore Ravens. And who do you got in that game?
Win by 2 touchdowns.
Okay, I don't know that I'm quite in the two touchdown range, but I think we're winning two.
Mm-hmm.
All right, week two, we host Cincinnati, who start infamously slow. They might have some issues from a contract situation. They could be playing with a highly motivated because he hasn't gotten paid. Both T. Higgins and Ja'Marr Chase. They could also be playing against a unmotivated Ja'Marr Chase because he did get paid, or they could be playing against a not there Ja'Marr Chase because he hasn't gotten paid. And don't really know what we're going to be getting there. But what are you thinking for that one?
Win because they talk too much trash, and when they beat us in the regular season, they take it way too hype. And I tell Bengals fans all the time, we're only 1-1. We're tied. You've only beat us one AFC championship, and we beat y'all one AFC championship. That's when it mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever during the season doesn't matter. But I feel like we would have a shootout. It's going to be a Mahomes versus Burrow shootout, and they're just going to shoot the ball, and we're going to win. We're going to have the ball last, and we're going to win.
Yeah, yeah. I'm with you. I'm thinking we got a win in that one as well. So we're so far on the same page. Week three against Atlanta, I gotta call that a win. I'm gonna be at that game.
Yeah, that's a win, man.
Yeah.
That's a win. Kirk Cousins, he's not gonna beat Mahomes. So I give that a win.
Yep. There you go. All right. Week four, we go to LA to play the Chargers.
Win
I'm with you there.
because Harbaugh, I mean not Harbaugh, Herbert is nursing that injury with that
Yep.
plantar fasciitis, and I don't think that he's going to play week 4. We'll be playing Taylor Heineke. So yeah, win.
And then again, our week four from our song showing Harbaugh who owns the AFC. All right. Week five, New Orleans. I think we beat the Saints, and there was that prediction that I brought up last week from Colin Cowherd that Dennis Allen's going to be the first coach that gets fired. Do we get him fired that week?
I think we get him fired that week.
Yeah. All right. We are on the bye week for week six. Week seven, we travel to San Francisco.
Revenge game lost.
Yep.
San Francisco was going to beat us in the Bay.
I'm with you. I think they get us. I think we get an early off and healthy Christian McCaffrey in that game, and they make a point in front of their home fans. Then we go to Las Vegas to play the Raiders, where we don't lose. Where the last time we
Yeah,
played there, we won a Super Bowl,
yeah,
and
win.
they're still talking about Christmas.
They
So
are they are killing it with Christmas.
yeah,
I mean, I just tell them, hey, I'm so happy that meant a lot to you, but we won the Super Bowl, so okay, you know, and in your stadium, something that you guys have not yet to do. So sure, yeah, we're gonna go down there and beat the crap out of them. I mean, our defense is going to throw Minshew all over the place. Minshew didn't look that great during the preseason to me, even though he's their starting guy. I think it's going to be a nightmare for him.
it's an understatement. Week nine, we play Tampa Bay at home.
We win W,
Yeah.
but that's going to be a shootout because there's always been Baker Mayfield plays hard against Mahomes, going all the way back to OU versus Texas Tech. They set a college record
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
just a shootout.
Yep.
It's going to
That
be
game.
one of them. It's going to be a lot of passing.
There we go. Okay, week 10, we host the Broncos.
Win.
Welcome to Kansas City, Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Buffalo, we go to Buffalo. So again, there's a football game in the middle of a Taylor Swift concert that's happening in Toronto. Sunday, November 17th, week 11, we go to Buffalo. What you got there?
Win.
Okay. I'm going loss. It's one of my
Really?
losses. Yep, it's one of my losses.
Well, yeah, because maybe Travis is not, he's not that focused in and he's worried about this concert and all this other stuff.
Either that or it's just that's how that stuff works, you know? That's how they
Yeah. Well, I go with you on that because that we're due for a second loss. So yeah, I can see Buffalo if they had any chance of beating us is during the season. So
well, exactly.
I can see that.
We'll let those guys get their, happiness. Then we go to Carolina. I'm not even gonna ask you about that one. That one's a win. We
When
host on Black Friday. We host the Raiders. Are we still on our revenge for Christmas?
absolutely,
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely,
Exactly.
we're gonna kill them again. And then that's
Exactly.
that's the game that they're after that game they're gonna bitch Gardner Minshew and try to go with Aiden O'Connell, and he's not gonna do much for him either.
Exactly. Okay. Week 14, we host the Chargers.
Week 14, Herbert should be back, which he's not going to be 100%. We sweep the Chargers.
Okay. I'm going to go with a loss on that one as well. I
Really?
think that's the Harbaugh game. I think that's the one that he hangs his hat on for the season.
Okay.
I'm calling a loss there. Week 15, we go to Cleveland to play the Browns. That's got to be a win.
See, that's where I differ at. I feel like we're going to beat the Chargers and sweep them, and it's a team like the Browns, who's not supposed to beat us, beats us. And
Uh,
you're like, holy crap, y'all lost to the Browns, you know?
okay.
And it's not gonna be uh uh Deshaun Watson. It's gonna be something freaky like Jameis Winston beat the Chiefs. Holy
Yeah.
crap, you know?
Nick Wright says that he's the best quarterback on the combined roster of Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
Wow.
Heard that yesterday. That made me laugh. Okay, week 16, December 21st, in the cold, the Kansas City Chiefs host the Houston Texans. Are you going to have a good week before Christmas? That's the question.
I'm gonna have a good week before Christmas, and I call that a win because if we get that loss against Cleveland, we're gonna go in there and really take care of business with Houston. But Houston's gonna give us a fight, but we usually beat Houston, so we're gonna beat Houston.
Yep, there you go. All right, so then we go Christmas Day to Pittsburgh. I think that's a win. I think that we're either piling on or confirming that Mike Tomlin's going to have his first losing season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't see them winning against us at that time.
Week 18, we go to Denver. I'm calling that one a loss due to this is Bo Nix's Super Bowl. This is the Broncos Super Bowl. We're probably resting one seed or not. I'm calling that one a loss.
Okay, so now that's three losses.
That's four for me.
Oh wow, so 13 and 4,
I'm going 13-4.
and I got 14 and 3.
So you're going to call that a win?
Yeah, yeah,
All right. So there you go. We're expecting another AFC West winning campaign. Dwayne's going with 14 wins. I'm going with 13, and that's how we see it.
that's how we see it.
All righty. What you got for a final take?
For a final take, I'm just glad it's football season again. Colorado Buffaloes are playing North Dakota State. Everybody's only watching it because of the prime time Shadur Sanders
Yep.
Coach Prime deal. But like you said, we're gonna have some interesting college football games this weekend. So I'm just looking forward to watching the Longhorns, the Baylor Bears. I'm just into watching a few of those. Uh, hey, I think LSU is playing some more of the other teams. I'm just gonna kind of binge watch.
So what I like is that when I click on the ESPN scoreboard, I don't have to change from the top 25 to see the KU score.
No, you don't.
Um, and that's going to be the case for a little bit. So looking at what the Big 12 is, I also like that when I click on the Big 12 that the Colorado score comes up. So they are down by 6 at the end of the second. There's a minute left. North Dakota State has the ball. So that's where we're at. They're down 20 to 14, just to make sure that we're completely time stamping when we're recording this.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So my final take, I am excited about a handful of things. One, the Royals are still in stuff. The Brewers
Yes,
are
they
still
are.
in stuff. Things are just looking awesome from a baseball standpoint. I might get to enjoy my postseason. We have Sporting KC in a cup final. They kind of suck out loud in MLS. They're at the bottom of the West, but they're playing LAFC at home for the Lamar Hunt Open Cup, which would be a great piece of hardware in a year that they probably don't deserve to win a piece of hardware, but they've prioritized that cup, and I appreciate it when teams do that. In addition to football being back, which I am excited about, that also means fantasy football is back. Right before we recorded, I wrapped up my 5th fantasy draft all this week, completely loaded that on purpose, and I'm just excited for this season coming up with all of that.
Hey, that's something to be excited about, Josh.
Well, there you go. All right. And with that, you have a good rest of your night. Same to everybody listening, and go
Go Chiefs!
Chiefs.
All right.